We all know Premier League is a fiercely competitive league. Managing a team in it is challenging, but some have made the task seem insurmountable. From their ill-fated spells to their catastrophic performances on the pitch, these managers have become a subject of ridicule among fans and experts. Today, we will take a closer look at the top 5 worst Premier League managers who struggled more than the others. So sit back, relax, and watch the video until the end, because I have saved the best for last. Our first entry is David Moyes. Following the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson in 2013, Moyes took over as manager of Manchester United. Manchester United was a top team under Sir Alex Ferguson. Unfortunately for Moyes, he failed to replicate Ferguson's success. He struggled to maintain the high standards of the club. His ill-fated spell saw Manchester United go from being champions to a laughingstock. Under David Moyes, the club finished 7th in the league. The fans were not impressed. In fact, they were angry. Moyes was ultimately sacked after just 10 months in charge. That is awful, isn't it? But if you think David Moyes is the worst manager that any club in the Premier League has had, just wait until you hear about the next one. Moving on to the next entry on our list, we have John Carver. After the departure of Alan Pardew in 2015, Carver was appointed as the caretaker manager of Newcastle United, but his temporary appointment soon turned permanent, and things went downhill from there. The reign of Carver as the manager was nothing short of a disaster. The team went on an 8-game losing streak, which still holds the record for the club. Newcastle's poor form under Carver saw them flirting with relegation, and its survival in the Premier League came down to the wire. During all that time, Carver claimed to be the best coach in the Premier League, but his performances on the pitch suggested otherwise. Under him, the team's defense was leaky, attack toothless, and tactics disarrayed. Clearly, Carver was out of his depth as a manager, and his stint at Newcastle remains a painful memory for the fans. The third on our list of the 5 worst managers in the Premier League is Remy Gard. He took over as Aston Villa's manager in 2015. Remy inherited a team that was already in a dire situation. The club was at the bottom of the league, with only 10 points from 20 games. Aston Villa was in desperate need of a miracle to salvage their season. With the arrival of Remy Gard, there was hope among club fans. But Remy Gard's tenure at Villa Park turned out to be far from miraculous. The team struggled to score goals and failed to win a single game in the Premier League for 3 months. Gard could only manage 12 points from 20 games, with 12 defeats and 12 goals scored. It was a disappointing spell, and despite his efforts, the club was relegated at the end of the season. Finally, Gard got sacked in March of 2016. And Aston Villa was relegated that season. His brief and unsuccessful spell as Aston Villa manager left a lot to be desired, and he remains one of the worst managers in Premier League history. Frank de Boer's brief spell as Crystal Palace manager in the 2017-18 season is next on our list of worst Premier League managers. De Boer was brought in to put in place a new playing style, but it did not take long for his tactics to be criticized. Just after 4 games, 4 defeats, and 0 goals scored, De Boer was sacked. It proved to be one of the shortest managerial tenures in Premier League history. The Dutchman's time at Palace was one to forget. As a matter of fact, he has not been heard of much since. It's safe to say that his attempt to revolutionize the team did not work out as planned. Your wait is over. Steve Kean tops the list of worst managers in the Premier League ever. For your information, the inclusion of Steve Kean as the final entry on our list is not by chance. Kean's time at Blackburn was a nightmare. It's just hard to overstate how disastrous his reign was for the club. His poor performance on the field and his involvement in many controversies off. It is why we think he is the worst manager in the English Premier League. Kean took over Blackburn in 2010, and he almost got the club relegated in his very first season. The team's performances were lackluster to say the least. But things only got worse in Kean's second season. Blackburn was once again battling relegation, and the team's performances were simply appalling. Kean's tactics and team selections were often baffling, and the players appeared to have lost faith in him. Kean's time at Blackburn was not just characterized by poor performances on the pitch, however. He got himself involved in several controversies that only served to further undermine his position at the club. For example, recordings emerged of him falsely alleging that his predecessor, Sam Allardyce, had been sacked because he was a crook. Keane was also convicted of drunk driving. All of these factors combined to make Keane one of the worst Premier League managers of all time. His time at Blackburn was a disaster, and it's a period that the club's fans will want to forget as quickly as possible. So there you have it, the top 5 worst Premier League managers of all time. Managing a Premier League team is not easy, but these managers have made the task of managing a Premier League club look like a nightmare. All of them struggled to maintain their team's high standards and failed to deliver the results that were expected of them. Let me know down in the comments what you think of the list of the 5 worst Premier League managers. Before switching tabs, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. And if you've enjoyed this video, watch the one on the screen now. You'll like it even more.